Hello, welcome back, my beautiful friends. I am so happy to be studying the World Order of Baha'u'llah with you. So, welcome back. This is a series, but you can jump in at any time. If you're joining for the first time, I just want to let you know that linked below is this book if you want to study along, as well as a study guide. I also have my mission statement video, the first video in this series, really talking about what this is and why. And there's also a playlist of all of the installments of this reading series, study along series, up until today. Okay, so all of that is linked below, as well as more information on the Bahai Faith. I would also like to let you guys know that tomorrow, so the 22nd of May, I will be joining some other beautiful artists for an online event hosted by the Greenacre Baha'i Center of Learning on art. It's called Exploring Art, the Great Community Builder. And it's a free event. You just have to register 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's May 22nd, a Saturday. And I have that linked below as well if you would like to register and join us for that event. And I'd like to remind you to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you do, and feel free to comment. All of that stuff, it's just the YouTube game, and it helps other people find this content. So super duper appreciate it. All right, my friends, you ready to jump in? Today is super big and important. It always is, but now we're getting to like where things are said crystal clear. We're going to be reading the section called A World Superstate. You ready? Over 60 years ago, and this was 1931, right? Shoghi Effendi is telling us, over 60 years ago then, in his tablet to Queen Victoria, Baha'u'llah, addressing the concourse of the rulers of earth, revealed the following: Take ye counsel together, and let your concern be only for that which profiteth mankind, and bettereth the condition thereof. So he's telling the rulers of the earth to come together, to take counsel, to consult, and have their only concern be for that which profiteth mankind and bettereth their conditions, living conditions, ability of livelihood, health conditions, sanitation conditions. Regard the world as the human body, which, though created whole and perfect, has been afflicted through diverse causes with grave ills and maladies. Not for one day did it rest, nay, its sickness waxed more severe, as it fell under the treatment of unskilled physicians, who have spurred on the steed of their worldly desires and have erred grievously. So, the body of mankind was created perfect. And we've had these self-interested physicians who have been making the body of mankind more and more ill. And if at one time, through the care of an able physician, a member of that body was healed, the rest remained as afflicted as before. Thus informeth you the all-knowing, the all-wise. And of course you can't, heal your foot, but have your kneecap or your gut or your brain or your heart or your lungs still have some sort of disease and think the body's going to be okay. It doesn't matter how well you take care of that foot, right? That which the Lord hath ordained as the sovereign remedy and the mightiest instrument for the healing of all the world is the union of all its peoples in one universal cause, one common faith. This can in no wise be achieved except through the power of a skilled and all-powerful and inspired physician. This verily is the truth, and all else naught but error. And physician in this case is capitalized, is referring to a divinely ordained remedy. In a further passage, Baha'u'llah adds these words: we see you every year I started with such force, you guys, starting this quote again. We see you adding every year unto your expenditures and laying the burden thereof on the people whom ye rule. He's saying we see you every year spending more and more money, and who's paying for it? The burden is falling onto the citizens. This verily is naught but grievous injustice. For the sighs and tears of this wronged one, and burden not your peoples. Sorry, you guys. Fear, fear, fear. Fear the sighs and tears of this wronged one. And burden not your peoples beyond that which they can endure. But be reconciled among yourselves, that ye may need armaments no more. Okay? So he says, fear the fact that I see what you're doing and that this grieves me, that this grieves the manifestation of God for this day, grieves the divine physician. And he says to don't burden your citizens beyond what they can endure. Be reconciled among yourselves, the leaders, that ye may need armaments no more, save in a measure to safeguard your territories and dominions. Be united, O concourse of the sovereigns of the world, for thereby will be the tempest of discord be stilled amongst you, and your peoples find rest. Okay, so he's calling on them to lessen their armaments, just enough to keep order if necessary, and to be united as rulers so that the tempest of discord can be stilled and the people, the citizenry, find rest. Should anyone among you take up arms against another, rise ye all against him, for this is not but manifest justice. And think how powerful that would be. Like if this was done properly, where there was true goodwill towards people, there was true consultation, there was a true agreement to lessen armaments just enough that they need, and you don't need to constantly be spending massive amounts of money and intellectual resources and human resources on that. And then if one, rogue country, the little, runt of the litter wanted to start a fight with someone, if all of the nations said, no, you don't, then one little, mosquito couldn't start a world war, if there was unity about, no, you behave, right? Of course, this has to be true, right? It has to be true consultation, and these rulers truly only having the interest of the people in mind, So that's where the spiritual, it's an inside out, out inside, like, it's big stuff, you guys, big stuff. But if everyone, including rulers and leaders, were honest and integrous and detached from worldly gain and compassionate and discerning, and we could consult, then this isn't far-fetched, you know? So transforming the hearts and minds of people, including leaders. What else could these weighty words signify if they did not point to the inevitable curtailment of unfettered national sovereignty as an indispensable preliminary to the formation of the future commonwealth of all the nations of the world? Let me keep reading. Some form of a world superstate must be evolved in whose favor all the nations of the world will have willingly seceded every claim to make war. So they've willingly, not because they were on their knees and impoverished and that sort of stuff. We read about World War II and how there was all this World War I leading to World War II, right? That there was a lack of whatever you want to call it, that there were some cruel provisions in the post-war agreement, right? So it has to be a fully consensual, willing secession of the right to make war, to certain rights to impose taxation, so a limitation on their ability to tax, and all rights to maintain armaments except for purposes maintaining internal order within their respective dominions. Okay? Such a state will have to include within its orbit an international executive adequate to enforce supreme and unchallengeable authority on every recalcitrant member of the Commonwealth. A world parliament whose members shall be elected by the people in their respective countries, and whose election shall be confirmed by their respective governments, and a supreme tribunal whose judgment will have a binding effect even in such cases where the parties concerned did not voluntarily agree to submit their case to its consideration. Super interesting. A world community in which all economic barriers will have been permanently demolished, and the interdependence of capital and labor definitely recognized. The interdependence of capital and labor. Oh, that's so interesting, you guys. Think about it. In which the clamor of religious fanaticism and strife will have been forever stilled, in which the flame of racial animosity will have been finally extinguished, in which a single code of international law, the product of the considered judgment of the world's federated representatives, shall have as its sanction the instant and coercive intervention of the combined forces of the federated units. Okay? And finally, a world community in which the fury of a capricious and militant nationalism will have been transmuted into an abiding consciousness of world citizenship. Such indeed appears in its broadest outline the order anticipated by Baha'u'llah, an order that shall come to be regarded as the fairest fruit of a slowly maturing age. The tabernacle of unity Baha'u'llah proclaims in his message to all mankind has been raised. Regard ye not one another as strangers. Of one tree are all ye the fruit, and of one bough the leaves. The world is but one country, and mankind its citizens. Let not a man glory in that he loves his country, but let him rather glory in this, that he loves his kind. Humankind. All right, my friends, thank you. We went really deep. Thank you for bearing with my flubs. I really love studying along with you. Please share your comments, your thoughts about this section of the world order. And I would also like to give a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon. My words today are just going around the merry-go-round, and I try to grab them, and sometimes I get the wrong one. A thank you to my patrons on Patreon. You make this sort of content possible. You know, you allow me to put time into reading the World Order of Baha'u'llah on YouTube because I think that it can do some good and it sparks some interesting conversations and can be attractive to people and can be found by people. So thank you to each one of you who are watching who are patrons. If you're interested in becoming a patron, levels start at just $3 a month. And I have links below, and it means so much to me, and it really, you buy me time basically to do things like this and to make my art, because all of these things are like long, slow things. So thank you so much. Thank you all of you who are watching. Share these links, talk about it, drop your comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and most importantly, to be conscious of playing your unique part in making this world a better place. I will see you next week, and I might see you tomorrow night at the Green Acre event. Bye-bye, you guys.